Welcome to Cannabis School. I'm your host, Jesse Angeles.
And I'm Brandon Elder.
And we're here to talk to you about everything pertaining to cannabis, from vape,
flower,
edibles,
strains,
and everything in between.
Hey kids!
Welcome back.
Yeah, so today we've got ourselves a fun little strain.
It is a quite pleasant strain, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. It goes straight to the head. Cottonmouth. It hits me like right away.
I don't feel like it's oh no, it's a little bit clicky, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's like from the outside going in. So today's strain is
Animal Tsunami.
Ooh, it's coming in like a flood.
It is.
It
Dude,
really
my
is.
pants are soaked.
Gross. Yeah, and that answers a lot of questions. But I got to say that this one is very fast onset this is a hybrid indica leaning. Yeah, 70% indica, so pretty much an indica one. But again, it always comes down to the terps.
Yeah. Like I feel like this one isn't heavily indica leaning right now. It's made by crossing animal cookies with Caramel Tsunami.
Caramel Tsunami just sounds awesome.
Both of those sound really tasty. I've not tried.
It's probably got like really sweet
those
notes. Caramel Tsunami.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Could you imagine a caramely flavored cannabis?
Yes.
That would be so tasty.
We've had really sweet ones, of course. I
feel like it would feel synthesized.
Oh,
key lime was delicious.
Right from, who did we have that? I think that was in no.
I thought that was a California grow.
It was, and it was we just had that in a small bubbler.
Did we only have a tiny little bit of flower of that one, or did we? Oh, that was so delicious, though.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. Remember the jars? All the little jars. Oh, yeah, and we would just go through them. Who was this?
Yeah.
Man, we had a lot of really good times, and we still do. But this one...
So it's bred by Tsunami Seed Co. I guess that's where the seed genetics come from.
Oh, I'm feeling a little sleepy.
Dude, I feel pretty chill. It's very in my head feeling, though.
Mm-hmm. Slow, but not... that happens to me sometimes. Heavy Myrcene, heavy Caryophyllene.
So the top terpenes in this one, I think, are Limonene, Myrcene, and Caryophyllene.
Yeah.
Sometimes also has Pinene and Humulene in there as well. I feel like this one is a very slow, but not as in I feel dumber, but as in I feel like life has slowed down.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got with Limonene, I really like about that is that it's the cut through the tightness of the chest. None. Zero. So it must have a decent amount in there.
No heart racing.
None.
No tightness. No.
And I find that through any kind of cart, whether it's live resin, or a disty, mostly disties. Disties will get my heart a little elevated and not feel great. Your live resin and rosins, they're good.
Better. Yeah.
But I always get a little weird tired at first. Like I'm yawning right now, and it's like I probably got like 5 hours of sleep last night, but that's a good night for me. Any more than that, I start feeling like, oh.
Dude, I feel like I would have to start trying to do cocaine or something if I was getting 5 hours of sleep at night.
It's just...
Or just snorting my coffee grounds.
I used to be worse. I used to be a lot worse. My wife called me the machine. I could sleep for 2-3 hours and go for 20. She's just like, you're insane. I'm like, nope, just keep going.
My sister Jackie, she sleeps for like 3 hours. And then she's nursing and she's on the side because she's like, well, I've got time. She's always crocheting and knitting stuff, but then she's decided to pick up a job for the hospital as well, where she can call patients and like do something else in her free time.
She's got to do something.
Yeah, it's that weird sick issue.
Yeah,
of like I've always got to be doing. What your dad
did to you guys.
I've always got to be doing something.
Yeah, you can't be sitting still. If you're sitting still, dude. That explains your brother Alec why he's even doing DoorDash and all that shit.
Yeah, he makes great money.
Your brother
he does
Thomas,
fantastic, and yet he DoorDashes in all of his free time.
I don't think that
Thomas has a side
Curtis doesn't do side stuff.
Yeah, he does, and he doesn't get paid for it. Curtis has clients because after he left that IT company, and, well, it was a shitty company, and his clients realized that he was the reason why they were in business. So many of them have gone to him of like, hey, I need you to do my IT work, and he's just done it for them for free on the side. They'll be like, oh, I'll pay you, and he just hasn't sent invoices. He just goes and helps them. So he's gone, and he'll be like, oh, yeah, I was out in Alaska for this many days doing this setup for this one, and then right after that I was back for about 16 hours before I flew to Texas for 3 days, and then I came back and I spent my weekend helping this company do their IT because that was when I had time to do it. I'm like, bro, what?
It's because he forgets. I mean, it's not because he doesn't
that's the
want
only
the
time
money.
he has.
He just forgets, and then he doesn't
even care.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Because when we were talking about it, and he was like, I don't know, like, it's not a big deal.
Well, maybe it's
like,
his side of like trying to serve people. It could definitely be that. I mean, for him, a lot of this stuff is really easy, but that's the cool thing, dude. I mean, it's the good with the bad. Oh, by the way, that company is called Alakazam IT. You can shit all over that if you can.
Don't go with him. He doesn't work there, so you'd have
a small IT company. If you guys get a chance, go over there. I'm not trying to be mean to that one. That guy has been awful to people for so many years. I hope you're listening to this, Gavin. Go fuck yourself. Anyways.
But in all seriousness, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. But and then the Christian side of me goes, but I hope you live a prosperous life. Anyways, but as long as you don't fuck people over, so fuck yourself. But this is a good straight. Okay, so when you get past that, like, and I think it's something like a side effect for me with Caryophyllene.
Makes you feel a little sleepy at
just
first.
a little bit.
But it's not like I want to go to bed. It's like I'll yawn or I'm feeling just like really relaxed.
This would be like cool, like if my mind could allow me to do this, which it couldn't because it's got too much shotgun on it. But I would love to smoke this and just get some sunnies. Just relax by the pool. So even though I don't swim
this
a lot
one says
anymore.
that it does have a lot of euphoria that leads to a fantastic body high and can lead to couch lock. So potentially high doses, you know. Well, I think it's all relative because it's like what was the God's Plan? No, it wasn't God's Plan. There was a strain that was God something, and Mike was like, oh, you've got to try this. This puts our grower on his ass and puts him to bed. Like, one hit, and that's like 1 or 2 hits. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I get out there, and he gets me a card of it, and I'm puffing on it, and I'm puffing on it, and I'm puffing on it. I'm like, it's nice. It takes out, like, some of the pain in my back, and it's pretty chill. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's relative. Everyone's experience is different.
Like, you know, I mean, you get those, like, I'm not saying that we're really, really, really smart in cannabis. There's a lot of things we still are learning, but we're always learning. We're always learning about this plant. And when you talk to the people that are like, dude, you should, like one of the comments, you guys need to start growing. And I'm like, yeah, but you know, the thing is, it's just knowing a lot about the product is awesome because then you start being able to see things as like answers.
Well, I love the idea of it, though. They were like, oh, you should start growing. I'm like, 100%. If we lived in a legal state, I would love to start growing. Or even having a company that we partner with of like, this is a genetic we would like to create.
Yeah.
These
that would
terpenes
be cool.
And that. Like, that style of growing. Not that I need to have my fingers in the dirt of it, unless it's at my house and it's legal and I can do that. Then
if you're doing it on your own, that'd be cool.
I would love to. But past that, like, I don't want to go have an entire farm. I don't want to deal with all of that. Like, that's a lot of work, and I would love someone who has that care and passion for that day-to-day of doing that on a large scale and creating something. But if we could, I think that we would have a better designed product because we would think of it from a better approach. We would have not these crazy, heady, stony-looking products and stuff. The quality, the experience would be very crafted, very specific, and
I agree.
Better quality.
I think right now we're at the very beginning of the golden age of cannabis. And why I state that is that we're starting to see more products come out, not just, you know, the plant product. We'll excuse that completely. But apparatuses, you know, bongs.
Devices, yeah.
Yeah, dude, these devices are stepping up. We recently were sent a bunch of amazing stuff from Dr. Dabber. You know, he's got the Dr. Dabber Switch 2. I've been rocking the Boost Evo, and I got to tell you, man, these are the highest quality dab rigs I have ever tried.
I love it even more than the last Dr. Dabber Switch.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, wow, this is so, you know, and that's the difference. Like, you're like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I love the Bomb Cycloud, but at the same time, it's not a Dr. Dabber, and it goes to say that, you know, the high quality products that you invest into when you're using this needs to be the same as almost like in the fitness area. Like if you have shitty fitness equipment, you're going to get by, but it'd be better to have just a little bit higher grade.
Yeah.
And then utilize it the best you can, not
It's
keep
like
adding more
anything.
shit onto it.
It's even like learning an instrument. I realized that so much with the first guitar I had.
Yeah.
Was I had like $100 guitar or something, and the strings were cheap. Like everything about it was cheap. The fret was like very wide and spread out and stuff, and it wasn't a great guitar. And I tried to learn on it, and I was watching videos on YouTube and stuff, and the guy was like, oh, if you have a really, really cheap guitar, it's going to make it actually really hard to play. It'll be harder to produce a good sound. It'll be harder to like have a clean sound. It'll hurt your hands more and like all this stuff. And I was like, oh man. And so I went on Marketplace, and I found like a used actual Fender guitar, and I only spent $100 on that used. And yet it changed my playing like 10x just from having something that was mid-grade versus like a cheap, shitty bottom shelf.
Do you remember that black guitar I bought for my son? I don't know if you were with me, but I bought it in Provo, and dude, like I didn't think he'd ever, I showed him a couple things that I knew, and I'm like, it's the woulda, coulda, shoulda thing. I'm like, yeah, I should set some time aside. But it's exactly that. When you're playing on a lower grade guitar, it's a lot harder. I used to think that my Fender was great, but it's not.
Oh.
They used to be great.
Yeah. And they're not bad.
They're not bad, but they are a high-end, cheap guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then I played on my other buddy's guitar. He had a Gibson. And
yeah.
Dude, like it was so much easier to play. The strings were they were in a weird way softer when you play with shitty $5 strings.
Well, that's what
that hurts your fingers, dude. You get some massive blisters.
When I bought that Fender, I replaced the strings, so I bought nicer strings on it. And that changed the experience too. And I was like, okay, well, getting a better bass, getting like new strings that are good, putting that, like it changes the experience, and you want to play it. It's like even with cannabis, if you're having this bottom shelf distillate, or like, oh hey, this is their flower, look, it was like $80 or $100 for the ounce. Well, there's probably a reason why you're paying $80 or $100 for that ounce. It's not because it's the best experience or the best quality.
Yeah.
And that's why you're getting the entire ounce at that price. And then you look at that and you're like, well, my experience is way better if I just bump that up. And
well, that's what I was saying, like with growers too. I am, and it directly comes from us as cannabis consumers, that we actually dictate why we get the products we get. For all those who are just out there who have now switched from nicotine vapes to just vaping THC, you guys are bringing the distillate companies to the horrible realization that cheaper is better on their side and that you'll buy more. It's a horrible product. It's not great. It is the last line of defense. This is that shitty gas station partially expired sandwich that you hazardly bought, but you took it with you anyways.
Or the hot dog that's been rotating since 8 o'clock that morning, and it's 9:30 at night.
Okay. Don't worry, my friend. Go ahead and have the hot dog.
No, it's fresh. I put it out like 60 minutes ago.
Don't worry, my friend. $1.75. Just like, it's a steal. Yeah.
So this one's actually supposed to be a pretty high THC percentage. Yeah. Like 25s to like even mid-30s, even in just flower.
That's a lot.
Yeah, oftentimes for new consumers, even experienced users, supposedly it's more of like a one hit it and quit it experience, where you take a good hit and then you're just kind of content.
I wish that was the case, because most people don't. I would feel there's very rare people that I meet going, I've had this cart for 6 months and it's a half gram. I'll be like,
oh yeah.
No, and it's cool. If you're a tourist, that's totally fine. Cool. We welcome you here. But at the same time, it's like once you start being able to utilize cannabis, and you're using it on the daily, or on the reg, every other day or whatever, or just once a time out of the day, you start to develop a subconscious addiction where you'll just keep puffing because it's there. I've had like 7 hits on this thing, and I'm feeling good, but I probably didn't need all those.
Oh yeah, no, I feel pleasant. Like
I've thought about picking it up again just because it's there.
Well, I was also like, I wonder if there's any other level that I get to, Or is this, but then I'm like, what more am I needing to experience? Truly, and that's kind of the thing of sitting back, and that's the hard part with cartridges or even just consumption in general, when you're not looking at what is my intent behind this.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes when I'm on my own, that's what I have to think about is like, I'm putting an intent behind this hit. What is the intent behind this hit? Well, I actually have a lot of pain right now. Okay, that's my intent, is I have a lot of pain, and my focus is if I take this hit, hopefully I will have less pain. So my intent right now is to have less pain. So that's my purpose for that hit. Or it's like, hey, well, I want to feel focused, or I'm not actually focused on what I'm reading or trying to do. So maybe if I take this hit and I set my phone aside, or I do this is my intent, is to do this with that.
Yeah, and also, like, one thing I've been trying to not go to unless I absolutely need it is a wake and bake, because I don't need it for pain. I use it for focus. I use it for calm, because I'm chaos, constant chaos, and I need that. It's honestly like when it's like somebody asked me, they go, "Why do you consider yourself addicted to cannabis?" I said, because the chaos is too much for me to handle. At this time, I just can't deal with it anymore. I'm not built the same way, and I don't have the same support structure. If I was married to a woman who was like, "Yeah, fuck it, fuck the world," then I would be like, "Yeah, fuck the world," right? And I would be like, I would be all hardcore into it. But I'm not. I'm married to somebody who helped me see things a little calmer, and so I'm different for it now, and that's what I like keeping that. So I'm not addicted per se to that. I'm just like, I know how I am. It's like how I used to feel about SSRIs. I used to get really pissed off about them. But then for some people, it's like, you know what? They've tried everything, and this is the best thing. Yeah. And so for me,
has its place.
Yeah, but the thing is that cannabis, like, we're seeing higher percentages, but we're not seeing like a lot more focus on being able to increase the terpenes amount through the growing process and helping to enhance that one, or being able to put more emphasis on that. Education is definitely not on that. We do.
So let us know in your state, like, what is your experience with your cannabis there? Because we've noticed even in Utah that there's been kind of a race to the bottom that's kind of happening here. And obviously that really happened in a lot of other states originally. But I'm curious if you guys have seen a bounce back with more craft grows, or people who are like, hey, you know, we're kind of sick of this subpar experience that's being produced and put out there.
I'm guessing that those who can grow do.
God, I mean, all the states where you can home grow, that's why we've had so many good episodes, even just with, like, who is that one guy? Gosh, he created that one. He was like, oh, it's simple. You just grow it at home in this bucket, and in certain states and certain areas, like, you can do it very simple like that. You don't need...
And it should be across there. You know, one thing I was realizing reading through this book called The Beginning of the End is The End of the World is Just the Beginning by Peter Zehan, or whatever, how you pronounce his name. I'll have to look it up. But anyways, that if and when, more likely the when, which will be sooner than later, when globalization ceases, cannabis will be one of the biggest crops for the United States. Absolutely. And the reason why I say that is because we'll be less dependent upon imports, because we'll be forced to. Most countries will be forced to, because they won't have the populations to continue to grow said products. That's why I feel that there's this mass push for robots, because there won't be enough people to do it. Not like to take your jobs, just nobody will be there to do it. You look at skilled labor.
Well, it's even, so when my parents had assisted living centers 10 years ago, even back then it was, hey, we have to prep, because the amount of boomers that there are is way larger than the amount of, like, elderly people we had at that point. And so it was like, you have to prep for all of these boomers that are coming in. But as soon as those go away, their kids, there's a lot, you know, within their kid lines, but after that it starts to trickle out. You know, I know a lot of people who have 0 kids or 1 or 2 kids or even 3 kids, versus, you know, you go back 30 years, God, how many kids, like,
I would have a normal family. My size of 5 children at that time.
I came from a family of 5.
Yeah.
My dad came from a family of 8. Our shared grandma came from a family of 13.
My mom there was only 3 siblings.
Really?
But she grew up on the East Coast. And you'll notice that the older the towns go, the fewer people they will have. And
if you guys are on the East Coast, do you guys have pretty, like, is
depending
your family
on
line
live,
pretty large? Or is it pretty minimal, like,
I would consider if they're
line
of European descent or East Asian descent that they don't have big families. But if they're from, like, the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, they may have larger families. I don't know. Like, Hispanic families can be very, very large. But, yeah, I mean, we are... And that's, I mean... And I'm fine with it. I used to be really like, dude, no, people need to be having... No, that's fine. If people aren't having people, that's totally fine. That's nature's way of saying, we don't want your genes. And I see a lot of infertility, and a lot of people are like, oh, this is a horrible pandemic because of plastics. Yeah, or it might be nature's way of saying, fuck you, we don't want any more of you. Because of that natural selection starts coming through. I don't believe in the Darwinistic approach, and it's not because I'm Christian. Well, it's just too many holes in it.
If it's everyone, if it truly is microplastics, it will. It would just be Mother Earth of that going like, oh, you guys are fucktards. I think you probably all should
chemicals.
Just die.
I think plastics are horrible, and we're already in our system. But I think it's the chemicals in the food that are far worse than the pharmaceuticals or the plastics by any means. Stretch of the imagination, the dyes, the chemicals, the preservatives.
There's all sorts of shit. Dude,
it's like bread. Anywhere else in the world, bread is only made for the day.
Yep.
It doesn't sit on your shelf for fucking weeks.
Yeah, that's why I loved Europe. It's like, and their pastas too. You go to Italy, and how many times are they eating pasta? And pizzas and stuff, and yet you go here, and all of us who eat pasta and pizza and that, well, we're just a little bit larger than life. And you go over there, and they're doing the same things, and most of them look nothing like us.
Well, the funny thing is, dude, once we said fuck the farm, we pretty much just set our own selves to being able to self-regulate. You know, it's like those things like, oh, we you know, that people think about the globalists or Bill Gates is trying to kill everybody so he could minimize the population. Don't worry, we've already done that ourselves, and all it needed was urbanization. We just needed to move in densely populated areas. We didn't do that, and that's the thing. Like, why I'm actually looking forward to this, because I'm predicting that cannabis will be very different 10 years from now. It'll be very different. I think it'll be better than it is now. I think that cultivation will be more scientific. The terpenes will be, like what people said, like they can start customizing terpenes towards people. I don't ever want it to be where there's a custom cannabis plant grown for me, because I'm always changing. I like the variety.
It would be so hard, because I think that one cannabis plant would really only accomplish a certain specific thing. And when your body gets very accustomed to one cannabinoid, you stop experiencing all the other euphorias in that.
Right.
So it might be perfect for like getting your body in balance. And that might be great, because that one might be what you put in like your smoothies or other things, because the cannabinoid there might not have to be activated. It could be even just that. So you might have a genetic one that it's like, well, this is my tincture of the day, and this just helps regulate or do this part with my body, but then I still enjoy these other, you know, cultivars because, well, I like how they make me feel or focus or that, but this is my baseline that is just, I have no idea. Maybe there is like a baseline that it could create for just helping with all of our like base level issues that most of our body has, as long as we're not feeding it tons of shit constantly. Yeah. You know, kind of like a regulatory daily vitamin, but then you could still experience your euphoria, your focus, your like relaxation, your, you know, whatever it is from different strains and that.
Well, and the thing too is sticking as close to the original plan as possible. I think that things like tablets and stuff like that and mints, although they are a good idea and a good direction, I think they're shit. I've never had a mint or a pill that compared anything close to flower or to dab.
So the only thing that I think it might be good for, and I experienced this when I went to the Pride Fest with my friend Alicia. She's a little bit prone to anxiety lately, and going out in that situation, she had these little mints that were in a tin, and it was like 2 milligrams. And she was like offering one to me. She offered one to Emily, and Emily's dose has gone way up. Like her tincture, she's saying she's using 40 milligrams, 50 milligrams at night to go to bed. Like that's her dose on an edible now. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy because you were 1-2 milligrams like a year ago. And so even that one for her didn't do much. But for Alicia, that was like the perfect microdose experience because she was able to just like relax, chill a little bit, take that edge off of her anxiety. But for me, I'm like, I don't have a mint dose. I don't have this like, ooh, cool, because they don't make them in a couple 100 milligram mints.
And I see that typically for people who are, I would say, more tourists in the cannabis world. It suits them when they want, and it's not part of their lifestyle, which is totally fine.
Yeah, it's not like a daily thing usually for them.
But I don't see a consistent
consumer using that all
No,
day.
because after a while, it starts to change.
Yeah.
Almost curdle like milk, where like one of my sister-in-laws, she took these mints, and she loved them. Until she started getting panicky. And it's like, and the reason why is because when you're using, it's the disassociation. We'll go into an episode about PTSD and cannabis. And one of those things is it's like...
Didn't we just do that?
No, I sent you the stuff for it.
Oh, that's what it was. I was like, where are we dead? No, I just had read through it all.
But it's that where when you start using it as you think this is going to help you out to get rid of X, Y, or Z, that's not what it's for.
No.
It's there to help get to baseline so you can actually go and, okay.
It's the tool to allow you to do the work that you need to do.
Yeah, I know people that use cannabis, they take an edible an hour before their therapy session because it helps them to open up and not to be afraid to go into that. But again, it has to be guided, and that's why there's a community.
A great strain for that, I feel like. Totally. Because you're relaxed enough, you don't have any tightness, you could be very chill, but it's still like light enough that you could talk about anything that is...
This would be a good travel strain for me. I get incredibly anxious during travel because I'm thinking about what could go wrong. So I'm... in my head, I've already become the first responder, mechanic, and first line of defense, just because I am crazy about that. But this would definitely lift that off. Like, it reminds me how I felt when I was cooking in California. Like, you know how my family and I used to go to California every other year, to go to Oceanside or places like that for like a week. And I used to fucking hate it because I was just so annoyed. But then when I started using cannabis, everything changed. And so first stop, I get there the next morning. Like, it was funny. My brother-in-law was coming there because he's got his wife's family's there. And at this time we were there, he's like, hey, dude, we're going to come stop by. We just pulled in.
Okay.
We just drove in. Yeah, we just drove in from Henderson. And as we were getting in, he's like, hey, dude, he goes, stopping by the dispo, you need me to grab anything? Yeah, give me a cart. Anything right now. And then he's like, oh, cool. And then he got these 2 pre-rolls, and we smoked that shit on the beach. And it was so funny because his mom he still won't tell his mom. It's like, fucking being a bitch. But because I smoke all the time around her, and she lives with me. So it's like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. And neither do my kids. They're just like, oh, that's dad.
Oh, yeah.
But it was really funny because we got back up to the table and we had smoked this joint, and it was a good-sized joint, dude. Like,
oh, nice. Yeah.
There's the filter. I mean,
it's beautiful.
And we smoked that whole thing together. But, dude, it was like he couldn't operate. He just couldn't operate. But anyways, this is getting to the point where now I feel slightly muted. I don't feel tired, but I feel very muted.
As like the colors and stuff?
What just do you mean slow. By that?
Okay.
But that's a bad thing because now I feel like my mind's drifting a little bit. So you could have seen that just there for a second.
But
I caught myself. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. That's a notice side effect.
Drift to next week's episode because,
that's what we're going to do.